Hey there, I'm Jer, and welcome back to my C4 Restoration Diary series. Now that it's the chilly season here at Jalopy World headquarters, let's talk about the pros and cons of using an outdoor car cover and why I'm never going to use one again. If you've been following all the work that I've done on the C4, you may have noticed that the paint is starting to look like it has a vitamin C deficiency, and it seems that the condition is getting worse and worse. I also have the same issue on my Fiero, so if it's happening on both cars, it must be something that they have in common. Well, both are just 1 year apart, both are black, and both are made by GM. Is this a defect from the factory, or did GM do a terrible job? I don't think so. Really, the thing that both of these cars have in common is sitting in my driveway. Over the last few years, both cars have been covered with a car cover. I've been using car covers in the summer when I don't drive my cars for long periods to cut down on the ultraviolet light or the UV that they get. The covers have been great at reducing the UV that they get in the summer and keeping water out of the car in the winter. So no water in the car means no rust, and that's a great thing. However, there's a dark side to using car covers. Have you ever watched one in the wind? They fill up with air and they flop all around. Well, this chafing action will eventually rub through the clear coat of the paint. This took several seasons to get to this point on my C4, and the symptoms appeared slowly. So you may be thinking to yourself, oh, this is just Jer's bad luck, and you're doing it right, or maybe you just got completely lucky. But I still think that this is going to happen to you after a while if you're using an outdoor car cover. Some covers even come with extra straps to keep them tight, and I'm sure that will help with the wind and the chafing, but I don't think this will fix the problem. It just takes one hole in the clear coat and it gets worse and worse. It will start to lift up the clear coat and spread underneath and cause more clear coat to lift and on and on. The only way to fix this problem is a new paint job, and I'll do that one day. I've actually been getting better at painting after doing a couple of large jobs on my 57 Chevy and on my Fiero. But is there a way to stop it? And can you stop it while it's still small? That's what we're going to find out. You're actually going to see me do this process on my Fiero. So you C4 guys get a sneak peek of this process before it comes out in a separate Fiero video. It's the same paint, so the result should be the same. I did start doing this on my C4 last year, but I never finished, and now the C4 is in the garage for repair. Don't bother doing this if your car is not watertight. You have to solve that problem first, or you're going to create other issues with water in the car. Fix your water leaks before you worry about paint. Heck, use a car cover if you really have to keep the water out. If you have a watertight car, here are the steps. Step 1. Remove as much of the loose clear coat as possible. I used a plastic razor blade to scrape off as much of the loose clear as I could. I even used a small screwdriver in a couple of stubborn and small areas. If you don't get rid of all the bubbles and the loose clear coat, it's just going to flake off later and the new layer of clear will fall off with it. Step 2. Remove all the small loose pieces of clear. Yes, same thing as step 1, but you still need to make sure you can get as much of these little pieces off as possible. I used an air compressor. Also, notice how much more of the clear breaks off in the wind. So drive in the car will make the flaking even worse. Step 3. Scuff paint. Paint needs to stick. There are two kinds of ways that paint sticks: mechanically and chemically. The first coat will need a mechanical connection. The idea is the paint will fill into the small scratches in the surface and stick better. I used a fake Scotch-Brite pad to create the scratches in the surface. Step 4. Tape off area. This is painting, and I don't want to get overspray on anything. This is actually the most time-consuming part, but I think it's well worth the effort. Step 5. Clean off. Wipe off any residue. I use grease and wax remover. If I was doing a real paint job, I'd also even use tack cloth. But this is outside and there's no way to remove all the dust and keep it off. Step 6. Apply the new clear coat. I just used some spray can clear coat, but I did try to lay it on evenly. I basically used 3 coats. The first coat is a tack coat. It's a super light coat to give the next coat something to stick to. The second coat is the first of 2 medium coats. I just laid it on as slow and even as I could, even though it's windy outside and I'm using spray paint. I even tried to keep a wet edge on the one side, but I couldn't keep it going in the center of the car. Once again, I'm not trying to fix the paint and make it look all nice and pretty. I'm just trying to get the clear coat to stop flaking. After 10 minutes in between coats, I applied the second coat of medium clear, or the third coat in total. The connection between this and subsequent coats will be a chemical adhesion. And that's why you don't want to wait too long in between coats, because if the first coat dries too much, it's no longer going to be sticky enough for that second coat to stick to. That's why you want to pay attention to your recoat time. Step 7. Wait for it to dry. Step 8. Remove tape. I didn't wait for the clear to totally dry. If you do a real paint job, you should wait until it's dry before you remove the tape. But since it has some thick paint right up to the edge of the clear, I want to remove the tape while the clear is still a little bit soft. That way the tape should separate easier. After about a week, this is what it looks like. From 10 feet away, it looks okay, and it's way better than how it looked before. Now I'll leave the car outside for the winter and see if all the areas that I added the new clear stay the same or get worse. If you're like me and you're going to leave your car outside, don't forget to apply some clear silicone grease to your weather strip. But besides that, the car should be fine in the winter without a cover. So when it snows, I'll just brush that off. So no more car covers in the winter or in the summer for me. I have a shade cover over my entire driveway to cut down on the heat and prevent UV damage that I use in the summer. Of course, I'll post an update in the spring of how this clear coat did over the course of the winter. So make sure you smash that subscribe button if you want to be notified when that comes out. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments for me, just go ahead and leave those in the comments section below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the C4 adventure thus far. Have a fantastic day, and happy C4ing.